Today we are going to be talking about analyzing the flow of matter. Last class we talked about the flow of energy. Remember, energy flows from the prey to the predator. So here in this example, this is a plant, a producer. The producer goes into the caterpillar's belly. And who eats the caterpillar? The spider. So the caterpillar goes into the spider's belly. And as you move on, the spider goes into the bird's belly. So producer, primary, secondary, tertiary. And I will label that for you. Here's the producer, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Please follow along in your reading as I read it to you. I will highlight some of the key important facts that you will need to know. On the second page of your packet, you may rip it apart if you would like. I do highlight some, but not all of the answers. So please do pay attention, underline, highlight whatever I have highlighted to help you. When producers perform photosynthesis, they use the solar energy that they absorb to convert carbon dioxide and water into carbohydrates like glucose. So we talked about solar energy. Remember, that is the sun. Okay, plants take in the sun's energy. Carbohydrates are the organic compounds that contain the energy that is passed through the food chain. Plants also absorb nitrogen from the environment, usually in the form of nitrates, and use this nitrogen to synthesize or make other organic compounds like the amino acids and nucleotides that every cell needs. This means that plants not only provide chemical energy to the next trophic level, but they also provide the organic compounds that other living things need. So in this first paragraph, what I want you to underline or highlight is carbohydrates are the organic compounds. I also want you to highlight plants also absorb nitrogen. And remember, plants cannot take in nitrogen gas from the atmosphere, but they need to take in some form of nitrogen, and that form is known as nitrates. Plants are able to take in nitrates. Please underline that or highlight that for me. I also want you to highlight that plants provide chemical energy as well as organic compounds. And remember, the organic compounds are the carbohydrates, which are the sugar. So remember, carbs are made of sugars, and I'll write that to the side. Okay, so let's move on to the next paragraph. The organic nutrients that are found in each living thing are passed on to the next trophic level when they are consumed. However, consumers must use some of the energy that they absorb to digest these nutrients and synthesize molecules of their own. Some of this energy is stored inside these new molecules, but much of the energy is lost as heat during these chemical reactions. Remember that only about 10% of the energy received from food is eventually used to make new molecules in cells that are stored inside the bodies of the consumers. The rest of the energy is lost to the environment as heat. All right, so in this second paragraph, what I want you to highlight is much of the energy is lost as heat. Okay. Remember from the last reading, 90%. Let me do that over. 90% is lost as heat. The next thing I want you to highlight is 10% of the energy received from food is eventually used. So whenever we eat food, we only take in 10%. That's it. The rest of their energy that you eat is lost to the environment as heat. All right, so let's move to the third paragraph. The amount of organic matter that is found in each trophic level is called its biomass. Biomass pyramids are a type of ecological pyramid that show the relative amounts of matter found in each trophic level. Producer populations have the greatest amount of biomass in an ecosystem. The amount of matter in each trophic level that follows is significantly less. This reduction in biomass is directly related to the decline in available energy that occurs from one trophic level to the next. Organisms simply do not have enough energy to convert all of the nutrients that are found in their food into new molecules and cells of their own. The undigested nutrients leave the consumers as waste, which is poop. There are also some portions of animals like hair, bones, and tendons which are difficult to digest and often not eaten at all. Both uneaten and undigested organic matter contributes to a reduction in the amount of mass found at each subsequent trophic level. So there are many important facts that you need to know in this paragraph. As you see, the definition of biomass is the amount of organic matter. And I will explain that to you in this pyramid right here. All right, so what I want you to highlight is that the producer populations have the greatest amount of biomass in an ecosystem. Producer populations have the greatest amount of biomass in an ecosystem. So, for example, what is biomass? So if you look at this picture, this pyramid, this biomass pyramid right here, notice at the very bottom are the producers. There are many producers on Earth and in our ecosystem. But as you move up the pyramid, notice the amount of organisms get less and less. That shows, that represents the amount of matter at each trophic level that follows. So, at the very bottom, because there's a lot of stuff, okay? Biomass is the stuff in that area. So, the biomass of plants is very high. They have the greatest amount of biomass. But as you move up, the amount of biomass gets less and less. And the reason why, whenever you move up the food pyramid or move up this biomass pyramid, the reason why it gets smaller and smaller is because of the decline in available energy. You can also see it here at the top of this food chain. Notice that the producers have the greatest biomass. If you look on a map or you see, if you look around us, there are plants everywhere. Do you see a caterpillar everywhere? No. Do you see a spider everywhere? No. Do you see birds every single time, everywhere you look? No. But you see plants everywhere, grass, trees. You see them everywhere you go. So producers have the greatest biomass, but as you move down the food chain, the amount of biomass gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So by the end of the food chain, it has the least biomass. So some quick vocabulary, the word decline. Decline means to go down, okay? Decline means to decrease, go down. That's what the word decline means. All right, so let's move on to the last short little paragraph there. It says, when organisms die, the organic compounds found in the remains of the plants and animals can become trapped, which means to be stuck inside. Over time, this could cause there to be a shortage of available nutrients for other living things. This problem is solved through the action of decomposers. Decomposers, like bacteria and fungi, break down and recycle the nutrients that would otherwise be trapped in the remains of dead organisms. Detrivores also help recycle nutrients by eating decaying matter, things that are already dead, and animal feces, which is poop, defecating, as their source of food. All right, so what I want you to highlight in that paragraph is, where is it here? Organic compounds found in the remains of plants and animals can become trapped. I also want you to highlight decomposers. And the last thing I want you to highlight is recycle nutrients. Go ahead and get started filling in your notes on page 2 of this packet. Like I said, you can rip it apart. I have underlined a lot of the answers for you. There may be some questions I did not highlight. You will just have to find it in the reading. Once you are done, go ahead and get started on your practice worksheet.